Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. I'm Eva, and this is something that a lot of you have been waiting for. In this video, we will proceed with the group reading, which I have planned as a consolation prize for those of you who entered my subscriber milestone giveaway but did not win the prize, the main prize, or this could be for those of you who did not enter, but who just find some interest in this. This is the group reading. What we're going to do first is I'm going to show you all the cards face down. These are the actual cards that I pulled after shuffling the deck and concentrating and all that kind of stuff on, like, doing the group reading. You're going to see all the cards face down, numbered 1 through 9. I want you to look very carefully at that image of the cards face down. Pause the image, pause this video if you need to take some time, and I highly suggest pausing the video. Concentrate on some situation or something, whatever that you would like to maybe know more about. And then once you've done that, choose a numbered card that is face down as the card that will speak to you in regard to your situation. Please do understand that because this is a group reading, the result, it's going to be a little more generalized. This is not as maybe in-depth or one-on-one as a reading would be if you had a reading done for you specifically for you. But that doesn't mean that the cards have nothing beneficial to say to you. Also, before we continue on to the group reading, I will say that if you don't understand how your result relates to your situation, feel free to drop me a comment in the comment box asking any questions you may have after you've chosen your card and seen what I interpret it to kind of convey. And maybe I can help you to connect the dots a little bit. Because sometimes, it helps to have some outside perspective to understand, like, how does this relate? How does this really speak to me in my situation? Now, you don't have to get into huge specifics if you don't want to reveal, like, your personal life situations or whatever you happen to be wanting to know more about. But you can word your question in a way that I can still help you to understand what's going on, maybe, if you're not sure how the message of the card relates to your actual situation. That said, I hope you all enjoy this. Let's move on to the group reading. Okay, so now that you've concentrated on your situation or on what you want to know more about, now that you've chosen your numbered card, now we're going to look at all of the cards face up. We're going to see what all of the cards actually are. Now that we've seen all the cards, now I'm going to go into, if you've chosen card 1, what does it have to convey to you? If you've chosen card 2 or 3 or so on and so forth. They will be presented sequentially. You will see in frame the image of the card kind of close up as I speak to you about what each card conveys to me as we go through them all, okay? So you can either, if you don't want to wait through every single card, you can kind of skip ahead to the numbered card that you chose, or if you enjoy sort of watching, and listening to how I interpret each card, feel free then to watch the whole video until, your card comes up, and then even afterward, if that's something that you'd like to kind of see. But regardless, again, I hope this proves to be helpful to you. Card 1 is the Chariot. On this card, we see two people riding in a chariot, sort of like waving bon voyage as they journey away, as they travel away to some new location. Now, if you chose card 1, the sense that I have about this card is that it alludes to a sort of trip, journey, or move. The move could be of home or workplace, for example. Now, these concepts of a trip, a journey, or a move could be physical, like actual, or they could be metaphorical. I get a sense of some kind of shift, essentially. Again, whether in the physical sense or in the metaphorical sense, it can be a shift of direction in any particular situation, potentially, or in any sort of way, potentially. But this shift or movement or trip or journey is something brought on, I feel, by positive motivation. This isn't a forced trip, journey, move, or change. This is happily sought or welcomed for the greater good. So, in essence, this card is saying that you should be open to, or perhaps consider, either a physical trip, journey, move, change, or shift, or consider or be open to a metaphorical one. This trip, journey, move, or change is positive. I feel it opens the way to positive potential and or some kind of new beginning. Card 2 is the King of Swords reversed. This card gives me a sense of stubbornness or willfulness, and yet I also have a sense of a need to apply or use that stubbornness or willfulness as an advantage or tool in pursuing what you seek. It may be your own stance on things that you need to apply more productively, or this card may allude to a need to try to strike some kind of compromise with someone else who is very set in their outlook on things or stance on a given situation. I will say, I'm not sure of this, but being that this is a king card, that this is the King of Swords, there is potential that if it is another person, that this may be a person in a position perhaps of advantage over you, or maybe they're in a position of power of some kind in relation to you, maybe a boss, or maybe some elder family member, or someone that happens to have maybe a little more power or sway. But again, I'm not sure about that because it's not necessarily true, but I sense it could be possible, so I am mentioning that here. Regardless, if a compromise can't be made between yourself and another, assuming that this situation, that this card is speaking on a situation where it's a sort of not seeing eye to eye between yourself and someone else. If a compromise can't be made, you may want to consider if not getting your way is something you might be able to accept and work around. Is there a different approach that you might apply to things? Perhaps a third alternative to your way or their way? Overall, this card is about power. You might want to consider, are you fully empowered? Are you as fully empowered as you can be? Are you empowering yourself actively? Is there a power struggle or clash of wills taking place between yourself and another or others? What can be done to bring that imbalance or clash into better alignment with the greater good, if that is the case? Also, what if you don't get your way? Is there some other way to potentially address the disparity of stances between yourself and the other party or parties? Card 3 shows us an image of an artist and a writer in a beautiful setting. This gives me the sense of creative expression, inspiration. I have the sense that there are a lot of sort of air qualities to this card. Qualities such as communication being alluded to, or perhaps thought or mind orientation being alluded to, and additionally connection being another possible significant association or thing that this card is sort of conveying something in regard to. Some questions come to the fore, being that this is a very air associative card. Consider perhaps, is there something that inspires you at this time or somehow involved in your situation that you've concentrated on? If that is the case, if you are being drawn to something, if something is inspiring you, this card seems to suggest that you pursue that thing that you are being drawn to or inspired toward or in regard to. Another thing you may want to ask yourself, if that is not quite the case, is there something you need to express or convey to another or others? Communication is another significant air associative quality. If this is the case, that there is something that you need to express, you should perhaps heed the message this card is giving, that people aren't mind readers. Don't expect others to understand your thoughts, feelings, wants, or needs if they aren't expressed. You need to open up the lines of communication somehow before any changes can even begin to take place. Because if no one knows what your thoughts, feelings, wants, or needs are because you have not expressed those, how can any, dialogue, compromise begin? How can anyone even begin to try to help you? So if that is the case, if communication is something that you're really in need of at this time, expression, this card is urging you, express yourself. A final alternative, another impression that I have is, you may feel drawn to connecting somehow to someone or some other people, coming together, sort of working together. I sense that if that is the case, if you feel drawn to connecting with others, that is a positive thing, because this image gives me a sense of growth. You see all the greenery, all the beautiful, lush green landscape around these two. That sort of gives you the sense of a productive, growing, forward-moving sort of collaboration. If you look behind the artist, there is some sort of tree. It's difficult to see what exactly is growing on that tree or shrub directly behind or beyond the artist, but it appears perhaps to be maybe fruit or roses. If it is fruit, it kind of gives you the sense of like, hey, positive fruits of your labor, they seem to be like working together, collaborating, or even if it is roses, blessings, good things coming from a collaboration. So if you're feeling drawn to maybe connecting to someone or some other people, this card seems to be saying that, connection is a good thing right now. Connection can really be beneficial. It can be productive toward the greater good. So you may want to consider, heed that feeling that you have in regard to being drawn to connecting with others. Card 4 is the Emperor. If you have chosen card 4, this is yet another power card. But this card alludes to a certain responsibility and care that comes with power. Power is power, but to be well empowered is to apply your power wisely and with great consideration. This sort of brings to mind the idea of, let's say, King Solomon, how he ruled wisely and well. You may want to consider, to weigh potential consequences of your words and or actions in your personal situation. Where might they lead you? Will your choices in regard to what's going on lead to your further empowerment and or to an outcome or outcomes that may benefit you and or others? Or might your choices lead to some potential problems or roadblocks later? Forethought, diplomacy, and careful planning are very likely the greatest tools to either achieving or maintaining an advantage in your situation. And by using forethought, diplomacy, and careful planning, you are more likely to achieve a situational outcome that is good for yourself as well as others. If others can see the benefit of your empowerment, they will be more likely to get on board with your direction, so to speak. They will receive you well, and they will receive your choices, words, or actions well, and they will thus then be more supportive of and compliant with your will. Card 5 is the Nine of Pentacles reversed. On this card we see two female figures. One is what appears to be a Native American woman, and the other appears to be some Greco-Roman woman. These are sort of like historical figures, or they can be taken as archetypal figures. The fact that they are female and that they are surrounded by pentacles, it kind of gives you a sense of like mothers. The fact that pentacles are very earth-related gives a sense that, like, these are alluding to, these images, these figures are alluding to sort of like your foremothers, I guess you could say, your familial ancestry. This card conveys what I feel to be a need to draw on ancestral energies, or perhaps to connect in a deeper way with your roots. This card may also convey a need to further develop your resources in some way. I sense a need of some kind of help, be it in regard to money, career, home, grounding, or stability, or some other earth associative thing. Something needs to be more solid, stable, or productive. Maybe something needs to be developed further. I feel that your ancestors can help with this. If you don't already have an ancestor altar in your home, if you don't already on a regular basis acknowledge your ancestors, your ancestral spirits, I suggest that you may consider doing so, because I do feel that they can help you a great deal in developing what needs to be developed and in gathering the resources that you need, in your life. Whatever you feel is sort of lacking, they will help to guide you toward that. They will help you, because our ancestors, they want what's best for us. They're very powerful spirits when respected, when venerated with respect. Well, I said with respect, but when you venerate your ancestors, when you really listen to their wisdom, when you acknowledge them and empower them, they can help you a great, great deal. Card 6 is the Five of Pentacles reversed. On this image, we see three figures. They are out in a rainstorm, but above their heads there are 5 discs that really remind me of 5 golden suns, like the sun in the sky. The sense that this card gives me As you can see, one figure is huddling off on her own, and then one figure is sort of trying to see, some sort of direction, and then another figure is holding tight to a flower. I get the sense that in a difficult situation, you need to hold on to whatever positivity you can. Things may be a little uncertain, or perhaps even stressful, but even in the most trying of times, there are positives. Focus on the positive. Keep your eye on what is good, even as some things are not so great. Feed and work toward the positive. Focusing on the negative, the uncertainties, or the difficulties in a given situation only serves to hinder your progress. When you find yourself in a storm, you must remember this too shall pass. Card 7 is the King of Chalices. This is a card that illustrates what I feel is positive emotional energy of a powerful sort. But I also feel a sense of attainment or achievement, like the finding of the Holy Grail, so to speak. The Holy Grail has an association with enlightenment, among other things. This card may potentially convey some attained insight or knowledge, perhaps some news that comes with a happy reaction or reception. Ultimately, I would say this is a positive card that alludes to some joy or perhaps some loving feelings, some good feelings, either now or in the future. I feel this card is conveying something good that comes with happiness. Card 8 is Judgment. This card always gives me a sense, now not that I go by any strict or stringent meanings, but this card always gives me a sort of sense of a serious decision or a serious judgment. This card gives me the sense of a significant choice that either must be made or has been made. If it is a choice that must be made, I feel it should be weighed very, very carefully, because it is not a sort of trivial choice. It is something with more substance to it. If a significant situation has been made, on the other hand, I feel this card is sort of saying that you should prepare for the consequences, for good or ill, that come with that serious choice. Apparently, if it was a choice that has been made, I'm getting the sense that it's sort of in the direction of a fairly significant step in life. Card 9 is the Knight of Chalices reversed. This card gives me the sense that your focus is very much on your own emotions in your given situation. I feel that this card is perhaps suggesting a need for objectivity. Consider things from a broader perspective. What is outside of the realm of your own feelings or emotional reactions in regards to things? I sense that if you broaden your perspective, with greater clarity can come potential for increased positivity. I feel that if you look beyond the limits of what you feel, you can see the forest for the trees, and thus maybe make some choices that are better formulated with a clear point of view. Seeing things from a broader perspective can help you to move in a more positive direction. It can increase your ability to move forward. You don't want to get stuck where you're at. You don't want to be held back by that, focus so much on what you're feeling in regard to things. I think objectivity can really help you to sort of gain some insight that can maybe better empower you, in the sense that knowledge is power, you know, understanding is power, openness is empowering. If you can see the forest for the trees, if you can see outside of your own emotional perspective, pieces of the puzzle will begin to make a little more sense to you. Things will begin to kind of, you get that clearer picture, and with that clearer picture you can move forward. And there you have it. Those are all of the interpretations of all of the cards in the group reading. I sincerely hope that the card that you chose conveyed some insight that is helpful to you. Once again, if you have questions or anything in regard to the result that came up for you, please do feel free to comment on that in the comment box, and I will do my very best to address your comment and to maybe help you to understand how the result that you got sort of relates to your situation, or maybe, you know, maybe I can just help to, you know, through just some dialogue back and forth, maybe I can just kind of help you with sort of what to do with your results, you know, how given your situation, you know, how to maybe apply that result in a beneficial way. Because honestly, readings, they don't convey like things written in stone per se. It's not like, oh my God, you have an inescapable future or an inescapable situation or an unchangeable situation. Knowledge is power. What the cards are providing for you is some insight with which you can then make choices and take actions to try and better shape, you know, your situation or your future, so that the things that unfold are more in line with what you seek or what you desire, for the greater good, you know, of yourself and or others. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed the entire subscriber milestone giveaway I've done and all the videos that relate to it. That said, I wish you a very good day. Blessed be an Ashe. Stay awesome. I haven't forgotten about the pet name thing. I'm still deciding on that. I will be back with that. Just saying. But anyway, until our next exchange, take care. Bye-bye for now.